I used to wake up every single morning feeling like my brain was trapped in a thick, heavy fog that wouldn't lift, no matter how much coffee I drank. It was more than just being not a morning person. It felt like my thoughts were moving through sludge, and my mental clarity didn't truly kick in until the day was halfway over. I realized I wasn't just lacking sleep, my brain was actually struggling to clear out the cellular waste that accumulates every single day we are awake. The pain of feeling mentally exhausted before your day even begins is something most of us just accept as a part of getting older, but it doesn't have to be that way. We've been told that sleep is just rest, but science now shows it's actually a high-pressure cleaning cycle for your mind. If you don't trigger this brainwash correctly, those toxic proteins stay stuck, clouding your judgment and draining your energy. I've spent months perfecting a protocol to fix this, and today, I'm sharing exactly how you can wake up feeling sharp, light, and focused every single day. Before we dive into the steps of this protocol, I want to see who is joining us in the quest for better mental clarity. Drop a comment below and let me know which city or country you're watching from today. And if you're tired of living in a mental fog and want to start engineering a brain that stays sharp for decades to come, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our weekly deep dives into human optimization. For years, the scientific community was puzzled by a major biological mystery. Every organ in the human body uses a lymphatic system to flush out waste, except for the brain. Since the brain is the most metabolically active organ we have, it seemed impossible that it didn't have a way to take out the trash. It wasn't until very recently that researchers discovered a hidden plumbing network called the Glymphatic System. Think of it as a specialized high-pressure dishwasher that stays completely tucked away during the day and only switches on the moment you fall into a deep sleep. This discovery changed everything we know about cognitive health because it revealed that our brains don't just rest while we sleep, they actively scrub themselves clean. When this system kicks in, your brain cells actually shrink in size, opening up channels that allow a clear fluid to rush through your brain tissue. This fluid acts as a biological detergent, picking up the metabolic debris and toxic proteins that have built up while you were busy working, thinking, and making decisions. If you don't give your brain enough time to run this cycle, you are essentially starting your next day with a dirty brain, which is the root cause of that heavy, sluggish feeling we all hate. The high authority takeaway here is that your mental clarity is directly tied to the efficiency of this plumbing system. When the glymphatic discovery was made, it proved that cognitive decline isn't just about bad luck or genetics. It's often about a breakdown in the cleaning process. By understanding that your brain has a literal wash cycle, you can stop treating sleep as a luxury and start seeing it as a non-negotiable maintenance window. Mastering this system is the key to maintaining a sharp, vibrant mind that doesn't just survive the passing of time, but remains crystal clear for decades to come. To truly understand why the brainwash is so critical, you have to meet the two primary villains responsible for mental decline: amyloid and tau. Think of these as the biological exhaust or soot that builds up inside your engine as you drive through your day. Every time you solve a problem, have a conversation, or focus on a task, your brain cells produce these proteins as a natural byproduct. In a healthy system, they are cleared out every night, but if they are allowed to sit and linger, they begin to clump together, forming sticky plaques that physically block the communication lines between your neurons. The real danger of these toxic culprits is that they don't just cause temporary brain fog, they actually suffocate your brain cells over time. Imagine your brain as a vibrant garden, and these proteins as invasive weeds. If the weeds are pulled every night, the garden thrives. But if you skip the cleaning process, the amyloid plaques start to choke the connections that form your memories, while the tau proteins collapse the internal structure of the cells themselves. This isn't just a theory. High levels of these proteins are the primary biological signatures found in almost every major form of age-related memory loss. The high authority perspective is that we are in a constant race against this toxic buildup. By the time you start noticing significant memory gaps or a loss of focus, these proteins may have been accumulating for years. That is why the brainwash protocol is so revolutionary. It moves the focus from treating decline to preventing it by ensuring the trash never has a chance to pile up.
When you prioritize the nightly flush of amyloid and tau, you aren't just sleeping for rest, you are actively decontaminating your brain to ensure that your mental hardware remains pristine and functional for the next 50 years. Deep sleep is the only time the brainwash protocol actually moves into high gear, making it the most important phase for your long-term clarity. While you might think of sleep as a single steady state, your brain actually goes through various stages, and it is specifically during the deepest, slowest wave sleep that the cleaning magic happens.
During this stage, your brain cells do something incredible. They actually shrink in size by up to 60%. This temporary shrinking creates a massive amount of physical space between your cells, turning a cramped environment into a wide-open highway that allows cleaning fluids to rush in and sweep away the toxic proteins that have built up all day. If you aren't reaching this deep sleep stage, the wash simply doesn't happen, no matter how many hours you spend in bed. You can think of it like a professional cleaning crew that only has the keys to the building between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. If you wake up or have interrupted sleep during that window, the doors remain locked and the trash stays inside. This is why many people can sleep for 8 hours, but still wake up feeling cloudy. They are getting plenty of light sleep, but they aren't spending enough time in that deep, shrunken cell state where the real detoxification occurs. From a high-authority perspective, protecting your deep sleep is the single most effective way to future-proof your brain. As we age, our ability to stay in deep sleep naturally starts to decline, which is why it becomes even more critical to optimize our environment and habits to fight back. By ensuring you hit those deep cycles, you are giving your brain the structural opportunity it needs to decontaminate itself. It is a non-negotiable biological requirement. Without deep sleep, the glymphatic system is essentially paralyzed, leaving your brain to sit in its own waste, which accelerates aging and robs you of your mental edge. To trigger the brain's cleaning cycle, you have to understand that your internal thermostat is the master switch. Your body's core temperature doesn't stay the same throughout the day. It follows a natural rhythm that must drop significantly to signal the brain that it is time for deep sleep. This cooling process isn't just about comfort, it is a biological requirement. When your core temperature drops, it acts as a green light for the nervous system to shift out of alert mode and into the restorative state where the glymphatic system can finally begin its work. For most high performers, the ideal environment for this brainwash is much cooler than they realize, specifically around 65 degrees Fahrenheit. When your bedroom is too warm, your body struggles to shed its internal heat, which keeps your heart rate elevated and traps you in light, superficial sleep. In this state, your brain cells never get the signal to shrink, meaning the cleaning fluid can't circulate. By physically cooling your environment, you are essentially hacking your biology to ensure you slide into deep sleep faster and stay there longer, allowing for a more thorough decontamination of your neural tissues. The high-authority approach to sleep hygiene treats temperature as a precision tool for longevity. If you want to wake up with total mental clarity, you have to manage your thermal environment as strictly as you manage your diet or exercise. This might mean using cooling mattress pads, taking a warm bath before bed to trigger a rapid cool-down effect afterward, or simply lowering the AC. By prioritizing this cooling requirement, you aren't just sleeping better, you are optimizing the physical conditions necessary for your brain to wash away the day's toxins, ensuring your cognitive engine stays cool, clean, and ready for high performance. To protect your brain's cleaning cycle, you have to master the timing of your stimulants. Caffeine works by masking a molecule called adenosine, which builds up in your brain throughout the day to create sleep pressure. When you consume caffeine, it parks in the receptors meant for adenosine, effectively tricking your brain into thinking it isn't tired. The problem is that even if you have the ability to fall asleep after a late cup of coffee, the caffeine is still active in your system, acting like a silent alarm clock that prevents your brain from sliding into the deep, slow-wave sleep required for the glymphatic wash to take place. The most effective way to handle this is by implementing a strict caffeine curfew, typically around 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. Caffeine has a surprisingly long half-life, meaning that 6 to 8 hours after your last sip, half of that stimulant is still circulating in your blood and affecting your brain. By cutting off caffeine in the early afternoon, you give your body enough time to metabolize the drug so that your adenosine receptors can function naturally when your head hits the pillow. This ensures that you aren't just unconscious at night, but actually moving through the deep stages of sleep where your brain cells shrink and the detoxification process begins. From a high-authority perspective, managing caffeine is about prioritizing chemical purity during your brain's maintenance window. If you ignore this curfew, you are essentially trying to run a high-pressure dishwasher while the power is flickering. The cycle might start, but it will never finish the job. By respecting the caffeine curfew, you ensure that your neurochemistry is perfectly balanced for a deep nightly decontamination. This discipline allows you to wake up with true, natural energy the next morning. Not the borrowed, jittery energy of a stimulant, but the clear-headed vitality of a brain that has been successfully washed clean. One of the most overlooked secrets to a successful brain wash is the state of your digestive system before bed. Digestion is a highly energy-intensive process that requires your body to divert a significant amount of blood flow and metabolic resources to your gut. If you eat a heavy meal right before sleep, your body is forced to split its focus between breaking down food and cleaning your brain. By implementing a nightly fast, finishing your last meal at least 3 hours before bed, you effectively tell your body to stop focusing on the stomach and start focusing on the mind. This allows your system to prioritize the glymphatic wash cycle without any internal distractions. When you fast before sleep, you are also managing your insulin levels, which plays a critical role in how well your brain repairs itself. High insulin levels from a late-night snack can interfere with the release of growth hormones and other restorative chemicals that act as the cleaning crew for your neurons. By giving your body a head start on fasting, you create a chemical environment that is perfectly primed for detoxification. Without the burden of processing sugar and fat throughout the night, your brain is free to reach those deep, shrunken cell stages where the most toxic proteins, like amyloid and tau, are successfully flushed away. From a high-authority perspective, nightly fasting is about resource allocation for maximum longevity. You want your body's repair budget to be spent on your brain, not on a late-night pizza. By making this simple shift, you ensure that every minute you spend asleep is dedicated to restoring your cognitive edge. This practice results in a level of morning clarity that no amount of caffeine can replicate. You'll wake up feeling lighter, sharper, and truly refreshed, knowing that you've given your brain the uninterrupted time it needs to stay pristine and powerful for decades to come. To truly unlock the brain's nightly cleaning cycle, you have to master the light in your environment.
For thousands of years, our biology was synced to the setting sun, which signals the brain to begin producing melatonin. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, but for longevity, it's much more than that. It is a master antioxidant that helps prime the brain for the glymphatic wash. When you expose your eyes to the blue light emitted by smartphones, tablets, and bright overhead LEDs late at night, you are sending a false signal to your brain that it is still high noon. This effectively halts melatonin production and delays the cleaning crew from ever starting their shift. The most effective way to combat this is by implementing a digital sunset at least 60 minutes before you plan to sleep. This isn't just about avoiding social media stress, it is about creating a chemical environment that allows your brain to transition into deep sleep.
By dimming the lights and putting away screens, you allow your natural melatonin levels to rise, which lowers your brain's internal alertness and prepares the neural pathways for detoxification. Think of this hour as the pre-wash cycle. It sets the stage so that the moment your head hits the pillow, your brain can immediately begin shrinking its cells and flushing out those toxic proteins. From a high-authority perspective, the digital sunset is a non-negotiable protocol for anyone serious about cognitive performance. If you ignore this and scroll through your phone until the moment you close your eyes, you may still fall asleep, but you are drastically reducing the quality of that sleep. Your brain will stay in a shallow state for hours, missing the window for the deep, restorative cleaning it desperately needs. By respecting the digital sunset, you are protecting your brain's most vital maintenance window, ensuring you wake up with the kind of sharp, effortless focus that only comes from a truly decontaminated mind. Implementing the brainwash protocol isn't just about feeling better tomorrow morning, it is about playing the long game for your most valuable asset, your mind.
We often spend decades saving for retirement, but we rarely invest that same level of discipline into the biological hardware we need to enjoy those years. By mastering these nightly cleaning cycles, you are effectively insurance-proofing your brain against the slow, silent accumulation of toxic waste that leads to cognitive decline. You are choosing to be the person who stays sharp, witty, and independent well into your 80s and 90s, rather than someone who is simply watching their mental edge fade away. I want you to realize that you have the power to engineer your own cognitive future, starting tonight.
Don't wait for a senior moment to start taking your brain health seriously. If you're ready to commit to decades of clarity, drop a 10-10 in the comments to show you're taking control of your protocol. And if you found this breakdown valuable, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are building a community of people who refuse to settle for brain fog and are dedicated to optimizing every second of their human experience. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video as we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible for our health.